Welcome to AnCat's Tiny Tin Collection.
Debt and death in perpetuity, courtesy of the Federal Reserve.
Welcome everyone to the Junius Maltby channel. Tonight it's myself, Mrs. Maltby, with the AnCat and possibly Junius. You're here? Okay, so tonight's coin is not so much a historical coin like the beautiful coins that Junius often has been bringing onto the channel lately. It's more about the meaning behind the coin and the image as depicting a historical event that occurred. Now, I acquired this coin and I thought it was so cool and I had to share it with all of you. What do you think about the coin?
I think it's really cool. You found this series, and I don't know if I ever saw these coins before, but you found them, and the images on them are just exquisite. The detail, I've gone through the process of, having a coin minted, and to get the level of detail engraved into a die that this coin features. The coin really impressed me, and it comes from Anonymous Mint. That's what it says on the back. And the only coin, the first physical coin from this mint I'd ever handled came as a gift.
From our friend on the channel who sent us that beautiful, literally treasure chest of things. And that was for the Medusa coin, which I will be covering at some point in the future. So it was a gift in itself that when I got, I pillaged it. I pillaged it from you.
Medusa coin, and then we found out about this mint, Anonymous Mint, looked into some of the other coins they produce, and this is one of them.
It was a gift within a gift.
And then you saw this coin, fell in love with it, and then put part of your paycheck towards it.
Yeah. Also part of my Gibbs.
Your Gibbs money.
With I've got a few coins coming through because of my Gibbs.
From the Gibbs money stimulus. Yeah, you stimulated the silver. I
definitely did. So let's get into this coin. It's quite a famous short story or tale from history. And there is evidence that it truly happened, that this conversation did take place between a very prominent family in Rome, father and son. So of course you can see it's written in Latin there on the obverse of the coin, of course. And Latin, hey, I'm not fluent in Latin. I did have to look up how to pronounce it. Pecunia non Olet. Right?
That's it. You got it. Pecunia non Olet.
Yep. So, what does that mean? Well, let's take a look here. Well, the phrase is ascribed to the Roman Emperor Vespasian, who in 70 AD imposed a urine tax. And yes, that's exactly what it sounds like, and I'll get into that in just a moment. The phrase itself means money doesn't stink, or money is not tainted. And the meaning behind the words is simple. It doesn't matter how you got your money because it all has the same value. A modern day version of that would be the ends justifies the means. Now today we've got a ton of little virtue signalers running around saying that they are anti this or anti that. And you know what? Without going on too much of a side tangent here, we could talk about sweatshop workers and blood diamonds and that all day, right? But you guys get what I mean. We use fiat and in forms of currency all the time. We really don't think about the means that it took to get there because we're pleased with the end result. Money doesn't stink. Money is not tainted. You have anything you want to add to that, Mr. Bronklin over there?
Yeah. Money never goes to prison.
Let's not do any more of those. Still, what does this have to do with anything? What does it have to do with urine and a tax on urine? Well, the ancient Romans, these are your people,
My people.
your people, they valued urine for its ammonia content. So they found, ammonia being the natural enemy of dirt and grease, very valuable for laundering clothes and even whitening teeth. Like all valuable products, there was a scheme to tax it. So, Emperor Vespasian, enter Emperor Vespasian here.
Emperor Vespasian.
AD 69 to 79. He taxed just about everything. He was not a very popular guy in that regard. And where was this urine collected?
Sounds like Emperor Vespasian was a Democrat.
Sounds like, yeah. Well, he gathered the urine at public restrooms. Now, this was either popular or not popular.
Leave it to a Democrat to want to tax piss.
Yeah, I know. I know. Well, the coin itself. Now we see the skeleton on the obverse of the coin. And based on the story that I'm about to tell you, I would presume that that is a play on Vespasian there. That skeleton is meant to be him. He's obviously sitting in a chair that exudes royalty, and he's surrounded by money. Now, of course, back then it would have been precious metals, would have been a coin. Here it's modernized, right, with paper money there. Well, the story goes like this. There was a little spat that occurred between Vespasian and his son Titus. And this spat was recorded and documented in history by Roman historians Dio and Suetonius. So it goes like this. Titus apparently complained about the urine tax to his father because he was quite frankly disgusted by it. So Vespasian asked him to smell a bunch of coins, and apparently he shoved some coins under his nose and asked him, "Do they stink?" When Titus replied, "No, they don't," his father replied, "Yet it comes from urine." So this father-son encounter yielded the Latin phrase Pecunia non Olet. Again, translates to money doesn't smell or money doesn't stink. And by this remark, Vespasian meant that even if the item taxed, urine, smelled bad or reeked, the income it would generate for the state had no scent. Therefore, the levy was more than worth it. And since that time, the phrase has been used to promote the idea that the value of money is not tainted by where it came from. Now, aside from producing this famous phrase and funding the Roman treasury, Vespasian's urine tax also had some effects on modern European language, and most notably in Italian, as old-fashioned public urinals are called Vespasianos. Furthermore, it is noted in history that although the taxes were quite unpopular, especially the urine tax, he left the Roman treasury quite full at his departure, and his heirs certainly got a lot of money. But let's go back. Let's go to the very beginning of this. So now we know what the coin means, what the message that they're trying to convey is, and the depiction that they placed on the obverse of the coin, honoring that moment in history, right? Well, let's take a look at the historical records. So Vespasian was in desperate need of cash for the imperial coffers, and that's why he taxed pretty much everything in sight. Go back a little further than that, and we'll talk about the year of the 4 emperors. The suicide of Emperor Nero in 68 AD brought an abrupt end of the Julio-Claudian dynasty that had reigned since Augustus, the man who transformed Rome from a republic into an empire. Now, with no surviving children or designated heirs, Nero's passing caused quite a problem. It caused a power vacuum in Rome. And unsurprisingly, prominent Roman politicians and generals took advantage of the situation and began to fight for the imperial throne. So this is what historians now have come to call the year of the 4 emperors, 68 to 69 AD.
Wait, pause for a second, because I have a special for everyone soon. That 68 to 69 AD, that's going to be one of the first denarius coins that we're going to take a look at soon. Many people know we have real denariuses lined up to do some videos on.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
why this is such a
that's true.
special video, because now we're kind of getting an idea of more of what was going on and taking place at that time.
Right. And that is thanks again to our wonderful friend on this channel who sent us those denarius there that Junius is going to review. Now, so 68 to 69 AD, 4 powerful Romans lay claim to the title of emperor. What do you think happened when you've got 4 very possibly egotistical and just aggressive,
Italians,
crazy Italian men? Well, it resulted in a civil war with these 4 men, each ruling in very short succession. Galba, Otho, Vitellius, and finally Vespasian. Now, having defeated the forces of the last claimant, Vespasian eventually took power and proclaimed a new Flavian dynasty, which would later include his sons Titus and Domitian. Now, those are names that should be familiar to everyone who enjoys and loves history. So, who was Emperor Vespasian before the Pecunia known Olet, as seen on this coin? Well, unlike the emperors before him, Titus Flavius Vespasianus, better known as Vespasian, thank goodness, did not hail from a noble family. Instead, he entered military service and rose through the ranks largely on his own merit. According to the ancient Roman historian Suetonius, by the way, Suetonius is the historian who, as I mentioned earlier, documented the little spat between Vespasian and his son. So, according to Suetonius, Vespasian never forgot where he came from. At religious festivals, he would always drink from a little silver cup that belonged to his grandmother. Oh, that's nice.
That's pretty cute.
That's pretty cute. And he refused to let anyone modify the small country home where he grew up.
He sounds like a pretty cool Italian guy. I like this. I would hang out with Vespasian.
Regardless of his humble beginnings, Vespasian had a big problem.
What's that?
The imperial treasury was all but depleted from war and Nero's excessive expenditures. So, money woes? What happens with money woes? Well, the solution for Vespasian's money problems came naturally because his own father was a tax collector. So we've got Mr. IRS Daddy here influencing Vespasian and the choices that he made for Rome. And he obviously increased taxes all over the Roman Empire. Historian Cassius Dio noted that Vespasian even levied heavy duties on Alexandria, Egypt, despite its citizens' support for his imperial bid. So this is apparently a quote from Dio. In the first place, he collected large sums from them in various ways, overlooking no source, however trivial or however reprehensible it might be, but drawing upon every source, sacred and profane alike, from which money could be secured. End quote. But it was still not enough. So Vespasian started to introduce new and novel and certainly unexpected taxes on the Roman citizens. And one peculiar item Vespasian decided to tax was human urine, collected from the public toilets.
Who had to collect the urine? That's the funny thing. And I wonder how they weighed it. I mean, what was the measurement? Like, so much per liter?
Well, I wouldn't want to be that person. That's all I know.
Probably a slave job.
Most likely. Yeah, I would say. So anyway, although the previous Emperor Nero was the first to implement this levy, he had rescinded it after a short period. Now in 70 AD, Vespasian brought it back, and it would be a major aspect of his money collecting efforts. I mean, clearly, because it's 2021 and we're still talking about this disgusting idea of his. So why would he want to tax urine?
You don't think Nancy Pelosi would tax piss if she could?
Oh, Nancy Pelosi is
now.
piss.
Yeah.
She won't tax herself. That's why she hasn't yet. So what practical use could urine have that someone would want to buy it? And of course we know how it led to the phrase. All right, so urine, a useful substance in ancient Rome. And as it turns out, human urine had plenty of uses in ancient Rome. And for starters, it was widely used to wash dirty clothes.
See, these people are like scientists. They know what ammonia was.
Yeah. Ancient Roman fullers, okay, so fullers are people who washed laundry for a living, were the ones who would use it to wash dirty clothes. But keep in mind, they did not have soap. So in this time period, they resorted to a common commodity, and that was urine, as they determined to clean the dirty clothes. And as we said, urine contains urea, which after 24 hours or so transforms into ammonia. And ammonia in turn is excellent at removing dirt and grease from dirty Roman togas and making white colors whiter and bright ones brighter. As explained by Mr. Scientist Mohi Kumar, as a base, ammonia is a useful cleanser because dirt and grease, which are slightly acidic, get neutralized by the ammonia. Even though early Europeans knew about soap, many launderers preferred to use urine for its ammonia to get tough stains out of clothes. Well, that wasn't the only use for urine. In addition to being an excellent cleaning agent, it was also used by tanners to produce leather. Typically, animal hides would be soaked in urine to remove hair, and then feces would be rubbed into the skin to soften it.
What?
It's your people. It's your
Like
people,
poop?
bruh.
Like doo-doo?
Yep. Poo-poos. These same properties also meant that urine had its uses in the textile industry, such as bleaching wool. But that wasn't even the most surprising use of the human waste. Many Romans even used urine to whiten their teeth and help formulate a makeshift toothpaste, a practice that was in fact followed by many cultures around the world. Remind me later to look up if Poland was doing this.
Brushing their teeth with their urine?
Yeah.
Well, you guys were living in caves still when we were building the wall.
Oh.
There's no comeback there for that. You guys were
Yeah,
living in
well, we
caves.
avoided the Black Death. Let's stay on topic here. So urine obviously was a hot commodity in ancient Rome. But how did Vespasian's tax work? For starters, it would be, as we said, collected from the public toilets located throughout Rome's Cloaca Maxima, or the Great Sewer System.
See, even their sewer words and names sound better than anything we could build today. Cloaca
You know
Maxima.
what? You showed me some coins from your people earlier, and we'll just leave it at that.
You mean rings?
Because their
Those- yeah, the
degeneracy,
rings,
sorry,
yeah.
rings, their degeneracy sees no boundaries.
It's
But anyway.
true.
So, while we don't know the nitty-gritty logistics of ancient Roman urine collection, scholars believe this process involved the collection of urine from individual toilets and its pouring into public vats. Communal jars throughout Rome would be filled to the brim with urine and later collected by the fullers. Is that something you'd want to do?
No. I would be an emperor probably, or a legionnaire.
But I bet you if we were alive back then and I asked you to do it for me, you would.
Probably. Or I'd have my slaves do it. I'd be like, go and fetch the missus a bucket of urine. She requires it for her laundry.
So at this time, it's not clear which out of the two, whether it was the fullers or the tanners who used the most urine for their work, or who had to pay the most urine taxes, or whether it was a universal tax, but it is agreed upon that the sheer quantity and necessity of urine meant that taxing it could and did yield big profits. So that is
I
that.
learned something new from you, Mrs. Malby. Pecunia non
Olet.
Money doesn't stink.
So that is my coin.
Money doesn't stink.
You have anything else you want to say about
That's it. I'm
this?
looking forward to... I'm actually really excited. I was going to do a video today on some of the denarius coins, but we got busy doing other things, and I'm just so excited to get that out. I just can't wait to start it.
Yeah, so this coin, I acquired it on eBay. It was not bad. It was actually quite close to spot price, and I paid no shipping. Again, the mint was discovered, or I discovered the mint due to the Medusa coin that was sent to me by our great friend of the channel. And I've got a few more coins actually coming from this series that I'll be touching on. And everything I try to do, although they're not historical coins like Junius's beautiful coins, they depict a scene or an event in history.
I just wish you could zoom in on the coat he's wearing, because the detail, I wish
Oh,
the viewers
yeah.
could see the exquisite detail that must have been put into the die face to...
Well, let's zoom in. Let's zoom in here real quick.
Now this is just one of the many details I noticed on the coin when Mrs. Maltby showed it to me. Look at the fabric and the pattern that is in the fabric of the coat on the skeleton here. So you can see the fabric, you can see his elbow there, and then the folds of the fabric itself.
And he's wearing a little Rolex watch.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. There's a little Rolex watch. He's got some rings on, and then you can see details
on the denomination of the bills.
And the pattern on the coat itself. I mean, it's exquisite.
Yeah.
Very well.
And the more that you look at the coin, I mean, even the detail of the rings that he's wearing. You saw, Junius, that he's wearing a little skull ring, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of rings on his right hand, and then on his left hand, when you zoom in and look closely, like you said earlier, not only can you see the denomination of the bill, but you can see the individual phalanges of his hand, and then on one of his fingers you see a skull ring, which is...
Plus, I mean, look at the letters too. I mean, that's not a basic font.
Yeah.
And you can see the expression on the little cherubs on his chair too. It's just I was
very quality made.
Yeah.
This company,
beautiful.
In order to do this level, I mean, this is better detail than a lot of the U.S. Mint products.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. So, stay tuned for more of these coins. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you liked that disgusting little lecture, but hey, it's history. It's part of our history.
It was fun. We learned something. I learned something.
Yeah. So stay tuned for Junius's next video here. It'll be on actual historic coins, real coins. Have a wonderful night out there, and thank you for tuning in to the Junius Maltby channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.